Shalom, shalom. First, we give all praise and glory to the Heavenly Father, which is Yahweh, Hashem, Yahweh Shah. Yahweh being the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Shah being the Son, who people unknown, you call him Jesus Christ. Lord, whether you're enduring, you're praying, you're fasting, you're giving alms, you're doing everything you need to do to make your calling and life for sure in these last days. I'm going to give peace and blessing to whomsoever watching this. Also, give peace and blessing to whomsoever not watching this. May they believe in the Most High God, Yahweh. They believe in His Son, Yahweh Shah, and they're keeping the commandments in truth and sincerity. And the topic of this video is, what does the Lord require of you? Because you have Passover coming up. You have the day of the Lord drawing nigh. And we ought to know, as servants of the Most High, what the Lord requires from us. If you was filling out a job application, guess what? You have certain requirements that you have to meet in order to get that job. If you want this job, you might have to have a certain certification. You might have to know a lot about the business. They might ask you questions and prove you to see if you know any thing about the business. You have to have certain requirements, man. Right? Let me do this real quick. Let's go to Ephesians chapter 5 and verse 17. So same thing with the Most High. By Hashem Yahweh Shah. The Lord requires something from you that you have to have. Just Ephesians chapter 5 and verse 17. Wherefore, be ye not unwise, but understanding what the will of the Lord is. So you have to understand, what does the Lord require of me? What does He require of you? And the thing is, sometimes it's kind of different. You know, custodian has different requirements than a CEO. So you might be a sister, the Lord might require something from you. You might be a brother, it might be different for a brother. You know what I'm saying? But right here, we're going to touch on what the Lord requires from both brother and sister. Right? Let me get one more. We go to Luke chapter 12 and verse 48. Luke chapter 12 and verse 48. But he that knew not and did commit things worthy of stripes shall be beaten with few stripes. For unto whomsoever much is given, of him shall be much required. And to whom men have committed much, of him they will ask the more. So Lord, He gave you the truth. You know you're an Israelite now. You know the name of the Most High, Yahweh. You know about His Son, Yahweh Shah. So that you are separated on a different level from the average man that's in the world. So now that you got that promotion, for lack of better words, from the Most High, the Lord requires more from you than that person that's in the world. What does He require from you? Let's get to it. Let's go to Micah chapter 6 and verse 8. This is the book of Micah chapter 6, verse 6. And it reads, Wherewith shall I come before the Lord and bow myself before the high God? Shall I come before Him with burnt offerings, with cows of a year old? So Micah is asking a question. He's asking, how can I come before the Most High? Is it from offerings, sin offerings, burnt offerings? How do I get to the Most High? We should be asking this question, right? How can I show myself and prove myself to the Most High? How can I be seen by the King, right? Verse 7, will the Lord be pleased with thousands of rams, or with 10,000 of river of oils? Shall I give my firstborn for my transgression, the fruit of my body for the sin of my soul? And these are all rhetorical questions. It's a no. The Lord doesn't delight in sin offerings like that. Let me just get that preaching. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 1 real quick. A lot of people think, the Most High, He loves burnt offering. Back then, when it was fresh and new, so-called, He loved that, man. He was done with a pure heart. But then over time, Jake being Jake, they turn something pure and make it corrupt. Burnt offering used to be pure, man. It used to be righteous. But Jake being evil and wicked and not sincere, they turn it into a corrupt thing. You can easily keep the commandments, but your heart is not with the Most High. David had a whole heart, a perfect heart after the Most High. And you got certain men, certain kings, they didn't know about the law, but guess what? Their heart was evil, right? Let's get Isaiah chapter 1 and verse 11, and it reads, To what purpose is the multitude of your sacrifices unto me? So the Lord asked him the question. He said, what's the purpose of all these sacrifices you're doing? What's that going to do for me? It reads, said the Lord, I am full of the burnt offerings of rams, and the fat of fat beasts, and I delight not in the blood of bullocks, or of lambs, or of he-goats. When you come to appear before me, who have required this at your hand to tread my courts? Bring no more vain oblations. Incense is an abomination unto me. The new moons and Sabbath, the calling of assemblies, I cannot away with it. It is iniquity, even the solemn meeting. Your new moon and your appointed feast, my soul hateth. They are a trouble unto me. I am weary to bear them. Now, hold on. The Lord did tell us to keep the new moon the first day of the month. He told us to keep the solemn feast days. But you got to understand the spirit behind this. You got to understand the spirit behind what the Most High is saying through through the prophets. He's saying the reason why he hated it because it's not done sincerely. There's evil in the midst. You know what I'm saying? Like I keep saying, you can keep the commandments, but your heart's not with the Most High. You can be out there teaching, reading, have fringes on, got a beard on your face. Don't Amalek, the Jewish man, the so-called Jewish man, he got a beard on his face full of dandruff and lice. He got the ZZs on. He's keeping the commandments, but his heart is not. It's not right within himself, man. His spirit is not upright. It's evil and wicked. So you can keep that commandments on the outward, man. But we are Jew inwardly. Your spirit has to be circumcised. Back then, men cared about the flesh and the outside. Even when you read Galatians chapter 6, you had something called, when it says in Philippians, something called the circumcision. You had certain men that will go around. You might be pulling out your garment to see if you're circumcised. You might have a magnifying glass to see if you got circumcised. They cared about the outside of the flesh. But inwardly, it was ravening wolves. But then you got some people who might not be circumcised on the outward appearance, but inwardly their heart is pure. They're sincere. They're neat. So again, the Lord, he's not delighting in all these different things. Don't keep the commandments if your heart is not sincere, man. You must, of course, keep the commandments, but your heart has to be upright with the Lord. And the Lord's going to tell you that. Let me get one more look. You know what I'm saying? We go to Amos. We go to Amos chapter 9. This was Amos chapter 8 and verse, I'm going to start verse 4. And it reads, hear this, O ye that swallow up the needy, even to make the poor of the land to fail. And this is talking about Israelites back then. Our own people oppressed their own people, man. You had wicked Israelite men who would oppress their own people, who would oppress the poor and the needy. Like even now, one of these pastors like T.D. Jakes, they need the money, man, is a widow who has, of course, no husband. Her grandchildren don't visit her, but when she go to church, the paycheck she gets monthly goes straight to the church. And guess what? She got an eviction notice on her own door, man. The pastor don't care about that. He just wants his money. He's oppressing the widow. He's oppressing the poor. Same thing that's happening back then, man. They don't care what you got. You got to give it to them. But this is the book of Amos, chapter 8 and verse 5, saying, when will the new moon be gone, that we may sow corn, and the Sabbath, that we may set forth wheat, making the ephah small and the shekels great, and falsifying the balances by the sea. So you have a wicked man, a wicked woman. Now, where's the new moon going to be gone? Now, what's the Sabbath? Is the sun going down yet? We got the time. Dang. And go on weather app and look out what time the sun set. They kind of wait for the sun to go down, for the new moon and the Sabbath to be gone, that they may, what's called, finesse their brother. Yes, you had scammers back then. There's no new thing under the sun. People think, what's going on right now is only going on in modern day. No, that happened back then. Jake now they'll scam you, credit card scammers. I don't know what they be doing now, man. That's what they did back then. It's called extortion. You had extortionists back then. So you may be paying for something, but you're paying a lot more than what the original price really is. It was falsifying the balances by deceit, man. So see, Jake is going off. Verse 6. That we may buy the poor for silver and the needy for a pair of shoes. Yeah, and sell the refuse of the wheat. They will also sell the worst wheat to the poor, man. They will keep the best to themselves and sell the worst to the poor and make a profit off of that. So Jake in their heart, they kept the new moon. They kept the Sabbath, but their heart wasn't right. They didn't do it with the whole heart of our forefathers Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Moses, David. They didn't keep the law, statute, commandments with the whole heart. Right? So, you can do all these sacrifices, but it doesn't mean anything in the eyes of the Lord if it's not done with a pure heart, man. All right, let's go to 1 Samuel real quick. Go to 1 Samuel 15. Samuel chapter 15. I'm gonna start at verse. I'm gonna start at verse 21, and it reads, "But the people took of the spoil sheep and oxen, the chief of the things which should have been utterly destroyed, to sacrifice unto the Lord thy God in Gilgal." So when you read 1 Samuel 15, Saul was supposed to destroy everything of the Amalekites, all the Amalekites, the kings, and also their cattle. But Saul didn't do that. He saved the king, and he took the cattle for burnt offerings. Let's keep going. Verse 22. And Samuel said, "Hath the Lord as great delight in burnt offerings and sacrifice as in obeying the voice of the Lord? Behold, to obey is better than sacrifice, and to hearken than the fat of rams." You see that? So you can have a man with 1,000 fatted rams, fatted cattle, to offer burnt offerings. But on the other side, you have a man who may not have that. But guess what? He has a sincere heart to obey the Most High. Who's righteous in the eyes of the Lord? Whichever answer you say, that's between you and the Most High. You can offer up 1,000 cattle, but yet not be obedient to the Lord. Your righteousness is null and void. Because you're not made righteous by the law. You're made righteous by the faith in your house, man. That's all throughout Romans. Then you have the man who might not have that many sacrifices. He might not be enriched with the cattle, but yet he obeyed the Most High. He has a whole heart after the Most High, man. That's what's going to make it to the promised land. He who obeys. And Moses, he was a righteous man. I would never knock Moses. But what caused him to not make it to the promised land? Because he didn't obey the voice of the Lord, huh? So obeying the voice of the Lord is very important. Knowing his will is very important. That's why Yahushua was very adamant to do his father's will. Even to the point he rebuked Peter, man. Right? He rebuked Peter. But let's go back to Micah 6 now. Go back to Micah chapter 6. Let's look at Micah. Let's look at Micah chapter 6. We read verse 7. Now we're on verse 8. Micah chapter 6 and verse 8. "He hath showed thee, O man, what is good. And what doth the Lord require of thee? But to do justly, and to love mercy, and to walk humbly with thy God. For these three things the Lord requires from a servant of the Most High, whether you be a brother or whether you be a sister." You're required to do justly. What does it mean to do justly? Let's go to the book. So, okay, Psalms 26 and verse 9. Let's go to Psalms 26 and verse 9 real quick. This is the book of Psalms 26 and verse 9. And it reads, "Gather not my soul with sinners, nor my life with bloody men, in whose hand is mischief, and their right hand is full of bribes." Right? You have a lot of wicked men who's wicked. They may be judges, princes back then, like pastors, and they take bribes. They overthrow judgment. Like when you read the history of Susanna, those two elders, when you're an elder, you're in the high seat of authority. It was wicked, man. They're trying to have false witness that came upon their own head. Right? This is the point though, verse 11. "But as for me, I will walk in my integrity. Redeem me and be merciful unto me." So you doing justly is you having integrity. You always doing that which is right. In judgment and righteousness, you dealing with your brother, you dealing with your sister, knowing what to do, when to do it, what to do it, how to do it, where to do it. You just have integrity, man. You're not going off behind closed doors. You're not being a hypocrite. You are doing that which is right because you have integrity, right? That's what it means to do justly. Even when you read, Salachya, I'll pull this out real quick. I have this KJV and NLT, comparative translation. Let me see what I said real quick. I'm going to go to Micah real quick. I'm going to go to Micah chapter 6. There we go. Micah chapter 6 and verse 8 in the NLT. And it reads, "And know, O people, the Lord has told you what is good, and this what he requires of you, to do what is right." So when you do what's unjust, you're doing that which is right. Having integrity. You're not going off again behind closed doors. Willfully, huh? You're not following a multitude to do evil. Let me get that real quick in Exodus. Chapter 23 and verse 2. This book of Exodus, chapter 23 and verse 2. And it reads, thou shalt not follow a multitude to do evil, neither shalt thou speak in a cause to decline after meaning to rest judgment. So, you're not doing justly or doing that which is right if you're following a multitude to do evil. Everybody saying, man, let's go out tonight. Let's go to the club. Let's get drunk. Let's get S space, man. Let's do this. Let's go meet with some brothers. Let's get this. Let's get some hope. Let's do this. You follow them. You're not doing what that was right. If you had integrity, you like, no, that's not. I can't do that, man. I can't do that. The Most High requires something from me. I know if I do that, I'm gonna get in trouble. On a crown level, if you was growing up, you probably had a mom, dad, a father figure, whatever you want to call it, a guardian, whatever. You know what they require from you, man. You knew if you did something, you was drinking that Kool-Aid on the couch, and you still did. You want to get behind work. So you want to do that. You knew if you tried to sneak out that window, you want to get behind work. So you wouldn't do that. And you was a good kid. Bad kids, they don't care, man. That window coming up, they sneaking out, they do whatever they want to do. But guess what? That man who knew his mother's will, what the mother requires of him, he knows when to come back, get back in the house before the lights come on. He knows what makes her mad, what makes her happy. The friend saying, man, come on, man, come spend the night at my house. Man, my mom not gonna say yes to that. I already know. Man, come on, let's go ask her, man. Go ask her. I'm telling you, she wants to say no. She told me if I ask her one more time, I'm gonna get in trouble. I already know. Man, go ask her. Stop being lame. That right going there and ask his mom one more time, he can't come back outside no more. Right? He's on punishment because he knew not to ask her again because she was sleeping. And you know when your mother's sleeping, she's gonna have attitude. That's not wise. So he knew that, but he still did it, and he got in trouble for it. So we know our Father's will. We know what makes the Most High upset. We also know what makes him happy. That's why it's important that we go over this, especially right before Passover, so we can be found blameless in the eyes of the Lord, man. It was on the crown level again. If you're always doing that which is right in your eyes of your mother, your dad, and things of that nature, they give you gifts. They give you that PS4 or that PS5, whatever. They give you a bicycle. They give you some new shoes, new clothing, jewelry, cologne. Whatever you ask for, they give it to you. Because you were doing that which is right. Same thing with the Most High, man. The Lord will give you your blessings in due season. If you work his work for the time, if you work your work for the time, man, the Lord will bless you and enrich you with blessings in due season if you do that which is right. Going back to the topic, let's get another precept. Let's go to Exodus 15, verse 26. Again, we're on doing justly, doing that which is right. It's Exodus chapter 15, verse 26. And said, if thou wilt diligently hearken to the voice of the Lord thy God, and will do that which is right in his sight, and will give ear to his commandments, and keep all his statutes, I will put none of these diseases upon thee, which I have brought upon the Egyptians. For I am the Lord that healeth thee. So the Lord said, you doing justly, you doing that which is right, is keeping his commandments. Keeping his commandments with the sincere heart. Again, you have Pharisees. They kept the commandments, man. They had phylacteries on, long garments, but inwardly they were full of dead men's bones. Right? It was ravening wolves. Right? So going back to Micah chapter 6. Let's go to Micah. So let's go to Micah chapter 6. And verse 8 again. He hath shewed thee, O man, what is good. And what doth the Lord require of thee, but to do justly? So we just went over that. So one out of the three things the Lord require of you is to do justly. What's that? Doing that which is right, having integrity, keeping his commandments in truth and sincerity. Right? It says, and to love mercy. So you got to love mercy. A lot of people love to receive mercy, but in this context, you got to love to show mercy. Everybody wants mercy. You're always pleading and asking for mercy. But what about that time that sister was asking you to show mercy to her and you did it? You got on her, you rebuked her. What about that time that brother was asking for mercy? I'll pay you next week, man. My paycheck, it's every other week. I don't get paid till next week, man. Please be merciful to me. I give you that $20, $20 next time. And I don't want to hear that. You going off, Pop. You didn't show mercy to that brother. You condemn that brother, man. Do you expect the Lord to show mercy to you? Whatever mercy you put out, that's the mercy you will receive. Isn't that in Matthew 7, man? right? Let me get this real quick. Let's look at Matthew. Matthew chapter 7 and verse 1. And it reads, Judge not that ye be not judged. For with what judgment you judge, you shall be judged. And with what measure you meet, it shall be measured to you. Again, you see that? So when you judging your brother, you condemning your brother, that same condemnation that you judge him with, especially when you're doing the same thing, it's going to be shown to you. How much more the same mercy you show that brother, the same mercy that you show him, is going to be shown to you. If you had no mercy on that brother, why would the Lord have mercy on you? Now, I believe that's even in Matthew, let me see real quick. Matthew 18. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 18. I'm going to start at this whole, when you read Matthew 18, verse 21 and down, it goes into it all. I want to get straight to the point. Listen, it is what it is. Matthew 18 and verse 21. Then came Peter to him and said, Lord, how oft shall my brother sin against me? I forgive him till 7 times. Yet how shall I say unto him? I say not unto thee until 7 times, but until 70 times 7. So Peter asked the Lord, how many times have I forgiven my brother? He keeps stepping on my shoes. He's always putting his shoulder into my chest on purpose. He's talking behind my back. He interrupts me in the midst of my speech. He doesn't do this for me. I always do this for him. He makes me feel like I'm nothing. How many times do I have to forgive this brother? How many times do I have to forgive my sister? She's always trying to one up me. She thinks she's always better than me. She's envious of me. She called me this. She talked behind my back. She gave me a bad name. How many times do I forgive her? The Lord said, I always forgive her, huh? 70 times 7. Which means a perfect amount. Forever, huh? And it's going to tell you why. Verse 23. Therefore is the kingdom of heaven likened unto a certain king, which would take account of his servants. Who's that king? Yahushua. Who's the servants? We're the servants, huh? Verse 24. And when he had begun to reckon, one was brought to him, which owed him 10,000 talents. But for as much as he had not to pay, his Lord commanded him to be sold, and his wife, and his children, and all that he had, and payment to be made. So you had this one servant. He owed $10,000. That's even on a carnal level. If you owe someone $10,000, that's a lot. And you can't pay it, man. This king said, you know what? Man, get him out of here, man. Get him out of here. Right? Verse 26. The servant therefore fell down and worshipped him, saying, Lord, have patience with me, and I will pay thee all. And the Lord of that servant was moved with compassion and loosed him and forgave him the debt. So this servant, he couldn't pay that back, but he asked for mercy. He asked for compassion. And guess what? The king showed this man compassion. All right, so let's keep going. Verse 28. But the same servant went out and found Salachya. Same trying to take away the word already. Right? It says, but the same servant went out and found one of his fellow servants, which owed him 100 pence. And he laid hands on him and took him by the throat. That's all, Salachya. And took him by the throat, saying, pay me that thou owest. So this same man who was forgiven of his debt, he found someone who owed him. He found a fellow servant who owed him money. And he wasn't merciful to him. He took him by the throat and said, give me my money, man. You know how JB, they get you like this. They grab you by the throat. They shaking you to and fro. They checking your pockets. They, I want that. Run my money. That's how this man was. Now remember, this man who's doing this, he was forgiven by the king. So the king showed him compassion. He showed mercy. But this same man is not showing mercy. Right? Verse 29. And his fellow Salachya. He said he took him by the throat. Dang. Verse 29. And his fellow servant fell down at his feet and besought him, saying, have patience with me, and I will pay thee all. And he would not, but went and cast him into prison till he should pay the debt. So this man, this dude who was forgiven of his debt, he had no mercy on a man who owed him money. Instead of forgiving him, showing compassion, like the king did to him, he cast this man into prison until he can give him the money. But how would this man get him the money if he's in prison? He can't make the money. So he had no mercy on his fellow brother. So that's a parable talking about us. When the Lord showed us mercy, right? You might have a certain brother. He will show a lot of mercy from the Lord. But guess what? He's not showing mercy to his brother. A sister's not showing mercy to her sister. Let's see what happens, man. Right? Verse 31. So when his fellow servants saw what was done, they were very sorry, and came and told unto the Lord all that was done. Then his Lord, after that he had called him, said to him, O thou wicked servant, I forgave thee all that debt, because thou desirest me. Shouldst not thou also have had compassion on thy fellow servant, even as I had pity on thee? And his Lord was wroth, and delivered him to the tormentors, till he should pay all that was due unto him. So likewise shall my heavenly Father do so likewise shall my heavenly Father do also to you, if ye from your hearts forgive not every one his brother that trespasses. Right? So when you says you gotta love mercy, yeah, receiving mercy, that's good. Love that. We gotta love to show mercy, because you're not showing mercy, the Lord won't show mercy to you. But that's two things the Lord requires from you: doing justly and showing mercy to receive that mercy. We got a few more precepts on that too. All right, let's go to Matthew 12. Matthew 12, verse number 7. And it reads, But if you had known what this meaneth, I would have mercy and not sacrifice, you would not have condemned the guiltless. When you read this, I believe in the NLT, it will say, I will have mercy and not condemn. Because Yahweh, he didn't come on earth to condemn, but to what? To call the sinners to repentance. The only time you saw Yahweh condemning is when the Lord, he already gave him a warning. Like, for example, Capernaum, I believe it was Capernaum. He started getting on Capernaum and things of that nature because he did his mighty miracles there. And they still didn't repent. So he started rebuking that place, man. And he always gives a chance. So the Lord, he didn't come again to condemn at that time. He came to show mercy. What we ought to do, we got to show mercy to our brothers and our sisters. Right? Let me get one more real quick. Even with David, I might get two more. Even with David and Saul. Saul was on David's head, man. He was searching out David throughout the thousands of Judah. He was in the woods, the wilderness, the plains, all over the place to kill David. David, he could have easily killed Saul when he was in the cave. But David, the only thing he did was cut off Saul's spirit. And guess what? That messed him up mentally. It didn't sit right with him in his stomach. Because why? David was righteous. He showed mercy again. He had a chance to kill Saul, but he didn't, man. He showed mercy to the point where you have something called the certain mercy to David. Because David showed so much mercy to the point he got that same mercy in return. This is Psalm chapter 18 and verse 25. With the merciful, that will show thyself merciful. With an upright man, that will show thyself upright. So you must be merciful in order to receive mercy. How come the Lord always getting on me? How come I'm always going through this hell? Well, brother, self-examine. Sister, self-examine to the point where, are you showing mercy? Or are you always rebuking? Are you always backbiting? Are you always condemning? Are you always looking down on somebody because they made a mistake? When you self-examine, through self-examination, you got to take action to repent. Repent means to turn away from. When you repent, guess what? Do the complete opposite of what you was doing, and you will fare well. Because at first you wasn't showing mercy, but now guess what? Start to show mercy, you will see the Lord start showing mercy with you. You know, that's even in I guess you could say marriage, couples wise and stuff like that. You know, if you show love, if you start showing that you're into your so-called significant other, that other significant other gonna start showing that they're into you too. You can't be acting, I don't like her. I don't like him. How do you think that's gonna make him feel? You know what I'm saying? So he's gonna show you that same energy. But if you show one energy of love, that other person will show the same energy back. So if you show mercy, the Most High will show mercy to you. But if you don't, it's what the Lord wants. But let's go back to Matthew 6. All right? So we just went over 2 out of the 3 things the Lord requires from you. All right? Notice how he's not saying the deepest, darkest breakdowns, all the precepts. You can have all the precepts in the world. Hey, it took the Pharisees, they were teachers of the law, masters in the law. But again, their heart was wicked. So it's not always about the deepest, darkest breakdowns. It's about your heart with the Most High. This is the book of Micah, chapter 6, and verse 8. He hath shewed thee, O man, what is good, and what doth the Lord require of thee? But to do justly, we went over that, having integrity, doing that which is right, keeping the commandments, and to love mercy. Right? We just went over that. Not only receiving mercy, but showing mercy. and to walk humbly with thy God. And that's the third thing out of the three things the Lord requires from me is to be humble, walking humbly with the Most High. Every time you see a man getting exalted, or the Lord dealing with somebody on a high level, is because that person was very humble, huh? Very, very humble. Let's go to Philippians 2 and verse 3. Very, very humble. Amen. Let's go to Philippians chapter 2 and verse 3. Let nothing be done through strife or vainglory, but in lowliness of mind, let each esteem other better than themselves. So Paul's commanding something, huh? You ought to have this mindset to think, my brother, he's better than me. I'm the least of my brother. He's better than me. You know, why would I backtalk him when he's older than me? You know what I'm saying? You gotta have that mindset. Yeah, this sister, she's better than me. I can learn something from her. I always learn something from her. I don't think I'm better than her. That's a good mindset to have. But guess what? It keeps you in your place. It keeps you humble. When you start to think I'm better than him, that spirit of pride comes upon you. People say, no, it's confidence. No, brother, it's pride at that point. I'm better than that brother. Look at this dude. Can't do church, he can't do this, he can't do that. He's not my level. All right, brother. But guess what? The Lord's dealing with that brother because the way he thinks towards you, this brother's better than me. I'm nothing compared to this brother. That's a mighty brother right there. You know what I'm saying? Who's really justified in the eyes of the Lord? The man who hates his brother, or the man who thinks his brother's better than him and righteousness before us? That's what the Lord's looking for, man. He's not looking for the man who thinks he's the best. All right? And that's nothing wrong with being confident, but don't pour down your brothers and your sisters down, huh? That's all. Let's go to Judges real quick. Give an example for someone being humble. Let's go to Judges. Let's go to Judges chapter 6, verse 12. And it reads, and the angel of the Lord appeared unto him and said unto him, the Lord is with thee, thou mighty man of valor. I was taking a shower earlier. I was just thinking, when an angel comes to you, they're fresh. They're very fresh from the presence. They just left the presence of the Most High, bro. They just seen the Most High. They just seen your house and things of that nature, and they're right in front of you. So it's kind of a big thing when an angel approaches you, one-on-one. They just came out from the Most High. So this angel appeared unto this man. He said, the Lord is with thee, thou mighty man of valor. Let's see what this man said. Let's see what Gideon said. Verse 13. And Gideon said to him, O my Lord, if the Lord be with us, why then is all this befallen us? And where be all his miracles which our fathers told us of, saying, did not the Lord bring us up from Egypt? But now the Lord hath forsaken us and delivered us into the hand of the Midianites. And the Lord looked upon him and said, go in this thy might, and thou shalt save Israel from the hand of the Midianites. Have not I sent thee? So again, the angel that was sent from the Most High, he said, go in your might. The Lord sees certain things in the man. When you read 1 Kings, I believe 11, verse 28, Solomon saw that Rehoboam was industrious, man. So the Lord, he sees certain qualities and attributes of certain men. He said Moses was a very weak man, right? He says David had a whole heart after him. So the Lord, he sees these different characteristics and qualities in certain men and women. This man right here, he said he's very mighty. Imagine the Lord calling you mighty, man. That's fire. Verse 15. And he said to him, this Gideon, O my Lord, wherewith shall I save Israel? Behold, my family is poor in Manasseh, and I am the least in my father's house. So you see, Gideon, he didn't think himself to be the best. He didn't say, nah, I know you came to me. I'm the best. I know I'm mighty. I know. But he said, I'm the least in my father's house. Why did you come to me? I'm nobody. Go ask him over there. He's taller than I am. Go ask him over there. He knows more principles than I do. Why did you come to me? Because the Lord didn't go to him. He saw something in you to get the job done, huh? So, but as you can see, Gideon, he was very, very, very humble in the eyes of the Lord, man. That's why he was exalted on a high level in righteousness. Even when you read 1 Samuel 18 and verse 23, look at 1 Samuel 18 and verse 23. So, 1 Samuel 18 verse 23. And Saul's servants spake those words in the ears of David. And David said, seemeth it to you a light thing to be a king's son-in-law seeing that I am a poor man and lightly esteemed. So again, really the elect, they're very meek. They don't think themselves at a high level. They're always battling thoughts, thinking the Lord's not with them, thinking how they can be better every day, thinking they always let the Lord down. You know, they don't think themselves to be anybody. Even when King David was on top, he still sought the Lord with a whole heart, always constantly being with the Lord, man. But these men were very humble. Even Moses. Let me get that preacher real quick. I believe that's number 12 Even Moses, he was called the weakest man upon earth. Right? Get Numbers, chapter 12, and verse 2, and it reads, verse 3. I'll start verse 2 though. And they said, have the Lord indeed spoken only by Moses? Have you not spoken also by us? And the Lord heard it. Right? Now the man Moses was very meek, above all the men which were upon the face of the earth. So you think you're meek, man? You think you're humble? Guess what? Moses exceeded your humbleness. He exceeded your meekness. You know? And that goes to show that we all have to do the self-examine of ourselves. That bitterness, that envy, the root of evil, pride, we got all self-examine, right before the Passover and take that away from us. Because we're about to eat the lamb. A lamb is submissive. A lamb is humble, right? A lamb isn't prideful. It isn't boast, right? So you got to be humble, man. Got to be humble. Well, let me get one more close out, or two more close out. Let me get Psalm. Psalm 37. For my phone down. So do Psalm 37 and verse 11, and it reads, but the meek shall inherit the earth and shall delight themselves in the abundance of peace. So again, if you move and you start the spirits in the Psalm 37 verse 11, be meek, guess what? You will have abundance, right? The Lord will bless you, right? So I'm going to close out. I'm going to read Micah 6 and 8 one more time. We'll go ahead and close out. Let's go to Micah chapter 6 and verse 8. Ye have shewed the old man what is good, and what doth the Lord require of thee? But to do justly, again, having integrity, doing that which is right, keeping the commandments, and to love mercy, not only receiving mercy, but showing mercy. For whatever mercy you show, that's what you will get. And to walk humbly with thy God, walking humbly, being meek, being modest, shamefaced, being a gentleman, not being prideful, not boasting. We read Acts chapter 12, verse 21 and verse 23. Herod, he was prideful. He didn't give glory to God. He got struck down by an angel, man. All right? So you do these things, especially by Passover, and of course, you're walking this truth. Listen to what Peter said. Let's go to 2 Peter, chapter 1. Let's see what Peter said if you do these things. 2 Peter, chapter 1, and verse 10. Wherefore the rather, brethren, give diligence to make your calling and election sure. For if you do these things, you shall never fall. So if you do these certain things, you will not fall. If anything, you continue to rise and rise and rise till you get to the top 4. So Lord willing, was edifying. I'm going to give peace and blessing to the 12 tribes scattered abroad. Call the Lord Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai,